first voicemail came at 8:34 p.m. 6 words. A male voice, calm and low. "I can see your light." Sarah was alone in a cabin with no cell service, surrounded by miles of snow and darkness. There were no other houses visible, no neighbors, no one. But someone was watching. Someone was calling. And by the end of that night, Sarah discovered something worse than being watched from outside. This is what happened during her 3-day winter escape to the mountains, a trip she'd planned for solitude and silence. She got the silence, but she wasn't alone. The cabin had no cell service, which was exactly why Sarah had come. She'd driven 4 hours north into the Adirondacks, watching the snowbanks grow taller along the highway until the plows stopped bothering, and she was navigating by the tire tracks of whoever had passed through last. The rental listing promised complete solitude and digital detox, which sounded perfect after 3 months of her phone buzzing with her ex-husband's lawyer, her mother's opinions, and LinkedIn notifications for jobs she didn't want. The key was under the third stone to the left of the door, just like the email said. The cabin smelled like pine and dust and something else. Old fireplace ash, maybe. Sarah dropped her bags and immediately checked her phone. 1 bar, then no bars, then 1 bar again, flickering like a dying heartbeat. Good. She made a fire. The wood was dry and caught easily, filling the main room with orange light that made the windows look even darker by contrast. Outside, the snow had that blue quality it gets in the late afternoon, right before true darkness comes. The trees were black scratches against the dimming sky. Sarah heated soup on the propane stove and ate it watching the fire. She'd brought a book, but found herself just staring at the flames, listening to the silence. Real silence, the kind that pressed against your eardrums. After a while, the wind picked up, and that was better. At least it was sound. It whistled through gaps she couldn't see, made the cabin creak in its joints, like an old person shifting position. She was washing her bowl in the sink when her phone buzzed. The sound was so unexpected that she actually gasped, hand jerking, dropping the bowl into the metal sink with a clang. Her phone sat on the counter, screen glowing. 1 bar of service had apparently manifested long enough for something to come through. A voicemail from a number she didn't recognize. Local area code, though, 518. Sarah dried her hands and picked up the phone. The voicemail icon just sat there. She almost didn't listen to it. This was supposed to be a disconnection, a break. But the isolation that had seemed so appealing 2 hours ago suddenly felt different in the dark, and something about the phone buzzing felt like a rope thrown from the regular world. She pressed play. Static first. Wind noise, maybe? Then a voice, male, speaking low. "I can see your light." That was all. 6 seconds. Then it cut off. Sarah's stomach went cold. She played it again. "I can see your light." The voice was calm, matter of fact. Not threatening exactly, but not friendly either. Just stating something. An observation. She walked to the window and looked out. The fire behind her reflected in the glass, turning it into a mirror. She cupped her hands around her face and pressed close. Outside, the snow glowed faintly under a cloud-covered sky. Trees. More trees. The driveway snaking away into darkness. No other lights. No other cabins visible, though the listing had mentioned the nearest neighbor was half a mile through the woods. Her phone had no bars again. She tried calling back the number. It rang once, then gave her a "call failed" message. Sarah checked the door. Locked. She checked the back door. Also locked. The windows were the old kind, single pane, with simple latches. She went around and checked each one. All secure. It was probably nothing. A wrong number. Someone calling about a different cabin, a different light. Or maybe it was the owner, checking in weirdly. Though why wouldn't he identify himself? And why would he be able to see the cabin's light? She tried to read her book, couldn't focus. The fire was dying, so she added more wood, sending up sparks. The wind was really going now, a steady moan punctuated by sharper gusts that threw snow against the windows in hissing bursts. At 9:47 p.m., her phone buzzed again. Sarah's whole body tensed. She grabbed it. Another voicemail. Same number. Her thumb hovered over the play button. She didn't want to hear it, but she pressed it anyway. You added more wood. The light got brighter. 8 seconds this time. Same calm voice. Same statement of fact tone. Sarah's breath caught. She looked at the windows, just black mirrors now, reflecting the room back at her. Someone was watching. Someone was outside in the snow and dark, watching the cabin, watching her, and calling to tell her about it. She tried the number again. Call failed. That was the thing to do. But when she tried, the call wouldn't connect. No service. Sarah turned off the lights, all of them. Stood in the firelight wondering if she should put that out too. But the cabin would get cold fast. And besides, smoke from the chimney would give her away regardless. She went to the window again, looking out. Could she see anything? Any movement? The snow created strange shadows, drifts that looked like crouched figures, until you stared long enough to be sure they weren't. She pulled the curtains closed, all of them, in every room. The cabin felt smaller that way, but safer. Nothing happened for an hour. Sarah sat on the couch with the fireplace poker in her hand, phone on her lap, watching the bars flicker between nothing and one. The wind was getting worse. It sounded like voices sometimes, like whispers in the eaves. At 11:03, the phone buzzed. You closed the curtains, but the bedroom window in the back, you forgot to pull that one all the way. Sarah's blood turned to ice water. The back bedroom, she'd been using it to store her coat and boots. Had she closed that curtain? She thought she had, but she crept down the hallway, poker raised. The back bedroom was dark. She edged to the window and looked at the curtain. There was a gap, maybe 6 inches where the two panels didn't quite meet. Someone had been watching through that gap, was maybe still watching. She yanked the curtain closed hard enough to tear the fabric. Stood there, breathing fog into the cold air. The heat didn't reach this far back. Her reflection in the darkened window was a ghost, wide-eyed, holding a poker like a weapon. She called the number again, and this time, impossibly, because she had no bars, it rang. Once. Twice. Someone picked up, breathing. Just breathing. In and out. Slow and steady like they were sleeping. But they'd answered, so they weren't sleeping. Who is this? Sarah's voice cracked. What do you want? The breathing continued. In, out, in, out. I'm calling the police, Sarah said. No, said the voice. Calm, certain. You're not. Then the line went dead. Sarah tried 911 again. Nothing. She tried to call her mother, her sister, her ex-husband, anyone. No calls would connect. But that number had connected. That call had worked fine. She checked every door, every window. She pushed a chair under the front door handle, a dresser against the back. She kept the fireplace poker. She sat on the couch with her back to the wall, where she could see both doors, and waited. The wind screamed. The cabin creaked. Hours passed, each one slower than the last. Her phone battery dropped to 30%, then 20%. The fire burned low. At 2:17 a.m., her phone buzzed. She grabbed it. Not a voicemail this time. A text message from the same number. A photo. Sarah's hands shook as she opened it. It was her. Sitting on the couch, fireplace poker across her lap, face lit by phone glow. Taken through the front window, between a gap in the curtains she hadn't noticed. Taken from outside. Taken seconds ago. The next message came immediately. I've been here the whole time. Sarah bolted to the front window and ripped back the curtain. Nothing. Just snow and darkness and wind-bent trees. But the angle of the photo, whoever took it, had been standing right there. Right where she was looking. Close enough to press the phone camera to the glass. She ran to the back window. Nothing. Side windows. Nothing. She was spinning in circles, checking every window, and they all showed the same empty darkness. But someone was out there. Someone had been at the window. Someone. Her phone buzzed. Another text. Check the voicemail you got at 6:23 p.m. before you arrived. Sarah's stomach dropped. She went to her voicemail log with shaking hands. There. 6:23 p.m. A voicemail from the same number. But she'd arrived at the cabin at 6:45. She hadn't gotten a call at 6:23. She'd been driving, and her phone had been in her pocket on silent. She'd never seen a notification for it. She played it. I'm already inside. The voice was coming from inside the cabin. Sarah spun around. The living room was empty. Kitchen empty. She grabbed the poker and checked the bathroom. Empty. The back bedroom empty. Closet empty. Under the bed, nothing.